and we won't have to cry no more.
What's up, y'all? Honey Gold Jasmine here for any given Mondays. You already know we're here with Gold Beams in the building. I'm gonna answer some questions for y'all. Let's just get into it. So I just finished my set and I feel like I was in my element. I feel like the ladies here at Gold Beams, like they're really thoughtful and they're very intentional. And so from the moment I walked in, I just felt comfortable because everything just feels so comforting, you know what I mean? So I feel comforted, I feel supported, and I feel free. It's been a while since I've had this space to even really let loose like that since quarantine started. So I just feel like I got a weight off my chest or something like that. So 3 ways to describe me would be evolving, eccentric, and electric. And I say those things because they all have movement to them, and I feel like I'm always moving. I never feel like I'm the same. I don't feel like I wake up day by day and I'm just like the same person. In fact, I get on my own nerves sometimes because I'll have an opinion one day and then the next day it's a whole nother one. And I think it's just kind of a part of the curse of taking in so many perspectives all the time. I just always feel like I'm evolving. Eccentric because I love colors, I love vibrancy, I love to just express myself in every single sense of the word. And electric because I love to connect to other people and I like to see how far the circuit can go, if you will, right? And just light things up. Everywhere I go, it just has to have some vibrancy, some electricity to it, or it just feels dead. So that's me. So it's interesting that you even asked why I call myself Honey Gold in that way, because my name was Honey Gold, just Honey Gold for a while. And it was inspired from, first and foremost, gold always was attached to me in some type of way. My stage name before this was Libra. I've always been into astrology and also alchemy. So a gold was a part of that. And there was a time in my life where, as I said in my set, I was really coming into my spiritual journey even more. And a part of that was connected with my ancestors. And my grandfather, he passed away from Alzheimer's. But before he passed away, my daughter would always call him Grandpa Honey because my grandma was calling him Honey, just term of endearment. But my daughter, I guess, really thought that was his name. And so when he passed away and I was going through this transition in my life, the two things came together, honey and gold. And in fact, I had a dream, woke up, and I was like, oh, that's my name. And so I was going with that for a while, but then I started realizing I didn't feel like it really encompassed who I was totally, because I'm Jasmine at the end of the day, I love my first name, my born name. And I thought that it actually rounded it out really well because honey, gold, and jasmine are all things that have to do with nature. And they're all things that have beauty, innate beauty in them and value. I even found out that there's a chemical compound in jasmine that's actually in most things in the universe, like jasminum or something like that. And that's kind of crazy. So I added it on there because I really thought, this is who I am totally. Damn near first, middle, and last name type of vibes. But of course, people tend to end up calling me one of the three, all of the three, just Honey Gold. And I'm cool with it. It just shows how much of a free spirit I am. Ooh, a sea of indecisiveness, okay? It has its perks because I feel like I'm very into aesthetics and all things beauty, and I like to be surrounded by that. But sometimes picking those things can be a task because I feel like I'm always very indecisive at times. Although I feel like that's balanced out with my moon in Aries, which is actually the opposite sign to Libra. So I think when I make those decisions, I'm very confident about those decisions. I'm very passionate with those things. But all in all, I love just the constant movement of it all. And I think I'm very good at balancing a lot of different things. I just have to not let that opposite pull of my Aries moon burn me out, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna always need that balance. But I have to have some fire in my life, you know? So it's wind and fire, I think, kind of ping-ponging back and forth and like keeping things energized. And yeah, I love being a Libra. Libra gang, shout out to everybody in my sign. You already know what it is. What do people misunderstand about Libra suns? I think what people misunderstand is because we want people to be comfortable around us and we value harmony, they think that we can't never come with the smoke. You know what I'm saying? So maybe it's my Aries moon that's like can surprise people in that way. Because it's, you know, sometimes it's said that like I don't like confrontation. That Libra side of me doesn't, but like my Aries moon is here for it. You know what I mean? Like I don't shy away from being like, hey, I kind of thought this wasn't cool or whatever. And it's not in an abrasive way, but it's in a way where at the end of the day, I do want harmony. So like to even have the harmony, we might have to go through a little bit of a discussion that's uncomfortable or maybe makes you look at me like, wow, she's maybe not that like nice of a person all the time. But I love that. I love the multidimensionality of that, you know, because I feel like people can misunderstand that I'm just a kind person and maybe they can just talk however or treat me however. I think I've gotten more comfortable with it since I've gotten older. 28, so really about to be a full-fledged adult out here in these streets. And yeah, just know that Libra suns, you know, don't underestimate our kindness and our need for harmony, because we might still come at you with that smoke. Every galaxy girl needs some magic in their life. And when I say magic, I mean like knowing that the universe is expansive in itself is a tool. Because if you can get locked into that and not locked into, this is just a finite universe and I'm only experiencing what is here around me, that can limit your dreams and limit the reaches of like your reach in space. You know what I mean? So like always keep magic, always keep faith, and know that literally this world, this universe is yours. Free Your Soul Fridays. It's a series that I do, I say sporadically every Friday, because life happens. And so, you know, people know to just kind of look out for when I'll be going live or if I'm even going live, because it's really a time to like free my soul. And I do that literally by sometimes taking a day for myself and maybe encouraging other people to as well. Or, you know, talking about topics that may be taboo. Like a recent topic I talked about was, you know, people feeling that they can know what other people are doing because they have a spiritual soul tie. And sometimes like people can really be manipulative with spirituality. So I want this to be a space where like we're free to talk about things like that, you know, it's not all just about freeing your soul and free love and all of that. Like, no, like there are boundaries, parameters, and things that you may have to adhere to actually have a freeing experience. So it's really like, you know, I mentioned before about being a Libra sun, Aries moon, and having those two pools and like those sides of me that can seem very conflicting. Like this is a space where I feel that like my fan base can actually like get into me and see what are those sides all about. So yeah. We never know what I'm finna talk about on the next Free Your Soul Friday, but tune in so you can find out. Peace. So, as with everything, my signature saying of peace is not just that simple. I actually am a part of this organization called Youth Impact Hub. I've been working there since 2016, but I came in as a youth with my business, and my business is called Increase the Peace, and that's called PIECE. By now it's defunct and transformed into a whole nother thing that I've yet to debut, but the intention of this was to let more people know about the fact that they can go into music as a career in the healing modality. There's a very small percentage of Black music therapists actually registered with the American Music Therapy Association. I mean, it's only, less than 10%, which is kind of ridiculous when you think about the fact that we make the world go round with our music, you feel me? So I wanted this to be a place where people know they're a piece of peace. So now, even though that business is not something I'm putting a lot of stock into at this moment and it's transformed, my why is still the same. My why is still to show people through me and my music that you can be a piece of peace. So when I say peace, it's not P-E-A-C-E twice. It's actually peace, like a piece of something, and peace, like inner peace. So that's peace. Trying hypnosis was an eye-opening experience for me, because I think at first I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know if they're going to implant something weird in my mind and I'm going to have a weird quirk every time I go around people or something like that. But it was actually not that at all. Benita, shout out to her. She was very open towards me. I shared something online that I was just going through vaguely, but she was just like, hey, I'm offering this service. Do you want to see what's up? And I trust her. She's also the founder of Zoo Labs. Shout out to Zoo Labs. I know Go Beams and I were also alumni of that. And so she brought me into that world. And the way I describe it best is it's kind of like a glorified meditation, if you will, because you're meditating, but the person is walking you through prompts that you set up for yourself, but they're taking you through that, and you're now unlocking things and digging things up and just going through things. And what I feel like it did for me was giving me concentrated time, right, to only focus on that thing that was holding me back, was making me feel a type of way. And a lot of times just going through life and even trying to meditate on my own, I can distract myself. So it really created the container to be able to dive into that and come out of that in a way where I'm anew. And I've now maybe not fully eradicated the thing that I was dealing with, but at least I know where it rests in my body. I know how I'm going to deal with it. I know what it feels like, and now I may even have a vision of how to get through it. Hypnosis. Do I think hypnosis is accurately portrayed in the media? That is a great question, and honestly, I can't answer that because I've only had this one experience with this one practitioner, and she is a practitioner of color. So I think the way it's portrayed in the media is very Eurocentric, right? So I don't know what they do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they may really have people come in and change their whole life in the worst way. I had somebody that had a really open heart, that had a really open mind, and is very genuinely caring for people. So honestly, I think like many things in the media, I would have to say no. That's just my answer right now. But I'm open to doing more research to see what is it portrayed like, and are there other portrayals that are more accurate to what I experienced. I love this question. What does high vibrations, or high vibes only, as I say, mean to me? And is it different than positive vibes? I feel like it's different than positive vibes only. Positive vibes only to me is only recognizing that one side of polarity. So it's saying, and I don't think it's that deep. I think sometimes people can get maybe worked up in the fact that it's saying positive vibes only. I know that the intention is saying, hey, we want to keep things good around here. We want to keep things happy, whatever. But I take it a step further and say high vibes only, because I feel like for me every day I'm trying to reach and working to, I don't like to say trying, but working towards reaching that higher self for me. And that's what I think it means. Because higher self don't always, like I said before, don't always mean you ain't coming with smoke. Your higher self might need you to go bad. Like, your higher self might need you to release that thing you're holding, because a lot of times positive vibes only can mean somebody come at you sideways, or they disrespect you in a way that should be addressed. And instead, I'm going to turn the other cheek, or just whatever, it was da-da-da-da. But high vibes only might mean you are putting aside your own, I guess, fear of backlash or whatever you think may come from a situation, and saying, hey, I'm gonna go with my higher self and like really give you even the chance to address, maybe you didn't mean it like that, you know what I mean? So for me, it's like constantly reaching that higher point for myself and welcoming other people to do that around me, because it is very hard for me to be around people that may not be actively working on themselves. And I find that I tend to attract people that are. By living my life like that, I approach other people that, even though they may not say high vibes only in that way, they live that. So that's what it means for me. What have I learned about fear in the last year? Well, that quote is very, I think, poignant for my response. False evidence appearing real. I think that's precisely what I learned. I mean, we've been getting hit with so many stories, but also so much propaganda that I think a lot of times it can be easy to get fear-mongered into certain things. And so I think a lot of times we have to use our discernment. And that's really what fear is about, right? Like, we may feel afraid to go into the unknown because we may not feel confident in our discernment of like, is this good for me? Is this not good for me? And so our protective self is like, well, I discern that this ain't good for me, so I'm just going to stay over here, maybe miss out on opportunities, whatever, because I feel safe in this little space. And I find that, we have to make our own reality. We can't let the evidence that people present to us of why we shouldn't do something be the reason why we don't do it. Sometimes walking into that cave of uncertainty is just the thing that needed to push you forward. And I know it's, rightfully so. There's things to be scared of right now, period, point blank. But I think a part of that is within the parameters of what the world is looking like right now, what it's going to, how can you maximize that space, right? How can you keep creating that magic? So I learned that fear may be something false trying to appear real, and you got to make your own reality. So, taking us out on a toast, I'd like to toast to pleasure, peace, and prosperity. Thank you for having me, Gold Beans.